Hard-boiled Haggerty in the ring now.
Today's the heyday of the pretty boy.
Kowalski is called killer for Dr. Gene Stanley of Chicago.
She likes it.
Oh, boy, that can hurt.
Right here at ringside while we go in for a riot of roughhouse that's flatly called wrestling.
In 1927, the movie industry was to change forever. One of its great silent movie stars was Buster Keaton. Here seen in his 1927 silent comedy movie, Buster Keaton's College. It was really the last of its kind, because though since 1921 there had been a smattering of talkie movies, none were to have the dramatic effect on the public as Al Jolson in The Jazz Singer. The film caught the air of the times, both the continuing rise of prosperity in the USA and the golden 20s in Europe. The Jazz Singer marked the beginning of that new era. It was at this precise time in Los Angeles, California, that a young boy was born to the Gomez family. He was born with an appetite for hot food and had a fiery temperament, so everyone called him Pepper.
If I tell you my real name, you won't believe it. It's Joseph Serapio Palomino Gomez Jr. That's my name, after my father. And so they used to call me Joseph Gomez, or Jose Gomez. That's what it was. But then the guys started, because I was always running, jumping, and I was a good athlete when I was in grammar school. And they used to call me Hot Pepper, because Mexicans eat a lot of hot food. So Hot Pepper, Hot Pepper. And that name just stayed with me. And everywhere it was Pepper, 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 Pepper. And I even forgot my first name. And it's been like that ever since.
Pepper was to become a star in his own right. This is the story of Pepper Gomez, a true icon of the wrestling world.
Pepper Gomez came in when Iron Mike came in. Gomez has started after the Bulldog, and we have 4 wrestlers inside the ring now. This is typical of our Texas tag team matches. You can't keep those men outside the ring forever.
In the year 2001, Pepper, at the age of 74, sat down at his family home in Los Angeles and reminisced about his life and his family origins.
When I graduated from high school, I was 18 years old, and I got drafted in the Army. The war was still going on. I graduated in 45. So they sent me to MacArthur boot camp in the Army. And so I went over there, and when I got there, they put so many guys in the Navy, so many guys in the paratroopers or whatever, Air Force. So they put me in the Navy. I said, well, gee, that's good. I'll be able to get on a boat and look around. The war was still going on when I went there. And I got to the island, and the war was just about over. So I figured, oh boy, I'd be able to go home now. But no, I stayed in for 11 months. And I got stationed at North Island, and I thought maybe they'd put me on a ship so I can go visit around the world or something. But no, they booked me in, they put me in San Diego, North Island, and I was there, I was in the Navy for 11 months. So I didn't do much in the Navy. My first match I had, I was booked in El Paso, Texas. And I can't remember the fellow I wrestled, but I mean, I was a little afraid, you know, these punches and things, and I said, oh God. But once I got in there, everything started to go right for me. And the people liked me, and the more they started clapping and yelling, the more I was doing. And I wrestled for Sam Maneker. Well, he was a wrestler, and he was a promoter in El Paso, Texas. So I went there, and then I guess I got too anxious one time, and I hurt my knee real bad. So I couldn't do nothing after a couple of weeks in El Paso. I said, well, I got to go home and take care of that. And he said, Pepper, you go home, take care of it. When you're ready, you come and see me. He said, because you're going to do great in the business. I said, okay. So I came home and went back to my old job. And then that's when Strangler Lewis was watching me. I was the junior heavyweight champion at the time. And so I went to Texas. I started in Fort Worth, Texas. And the place was sold out. I got over like $1 million there. And I stayed there for about 6-7 years, six years. In '62, I started in San Francisco for Roy Shires. And he didn't want me to go either, so I stayed here about 13 years.
Pepper Gomez has been officially tagged by Manigault. He's the entry for Manigault and Gomez. Bulldog Fletches is the man who's supposed to be inside the ring for his team. Iron Mike is outside and has been ordered to tag up with that corner and stay there. Mike comes in but runs into trouble. And there's more where that came from.
My first wife's name was Eleanor. And I met her at a place called Casino Gardens in Santa Monica. Or Ocean Beach, and at a dance. And I like music, and I like big band music. So we used to go to a lot of places there, like the Palladium and so on. And that's how I met her. I had 4 girls and a son. My father died and my mother, and they meant a lot to me. They were good to me. My mother always worried about being hurt. I used to come home sometime and she'd feel my body, make sure I'm all there.
By the mid-60s, Pepper's manager was Vern Gagne and Vern's associate Dick the Bruiser. But Pepper was now in his early 40s and tiring of this business relationship. It starts to show in this final fight.
As we visit the Philadelphia Arena for a bruising encounter between 2 seasoned performers, Dick the Bruiser Apples will try to live up to his reputation against Pepper Gomez in this feature match tonight. Apples has a reputation for being the #1 villain in the ring, and the match promises to be a dilly since these two have met 3 times on television, with the results being a draw on each occasion. For Gomez, it's his initial appearance in Philadelphia, and the local fans are with him all the way. It's off the ropes and upsy-daisy. Away we go with a high-flying airplane spin, but Gomez apparently isn't used to the altitude, and he gets the worst of the crash to the canvas. Bruiser has enough left to strike back, and the groggy Pepper is out in orbit. Bruiser Apple pins Pepper Gomez to take the feature event in a surprise ending and maintains his popular bad man rating among the body vendors. Gomez claims foul, but to no avail, and he'll have to wait another day.
My second wife, her name was Rosalie. Just didn't work out. Now I think the greatest thing God ever gave me was my wife. I'm married to her here for 22 years. She's fabulous and really helped me.
Well, I met Pepper in 1968, and his, at that time, wife was working for me. And he was married, and we were friends. We double dated. And then in '76, he split up with Rosalie and came out here. In fact, he even asked me for a date, and I says, I don't know how to change my friendship into that. So we just talked to each other, and he kept coming in every night. And then all of a sudden, we just started dating, because I loved him as my friend. We even made a wager at work that how long he'd last with his second wife, because he was such a wonderful, sweet guy. Everybody loved him. And his wife was a little harsh, so different from him. She was my friend, but I loved everybody. I could handle anybody. And then when he came in 76, all of a sudden, we just went together. In fact, he told me, he says, I knew you loved me because you invited me to a baseball game. Our marriage has been wonderful. It really has. We have up and downs because I am so family-oriented. And I could have all the kids and grandkids, my perfect angels, his too. I love all of them. And sometimes I used to think maybe he'd like me on a desert island. He used to laugh and say, I'm going to put alligators around to the edge of the house so we can have our own time. I says, We really went through a tough time when his kidneys got bad. But we handled him. He was so depressed, and he felt he was an athlete and took care of his body all his life. We had always ate well. We had natural food restaurants, and when he got his bad kidneys, it just devastated him. He was so depressed, and in fact, he used to say, Dear God, why did you do this to me? I says, honey, God, do you think he had those cars right over your tummy and you going in that ring all the time? And, but we held our hands, and God's. I'm sorry. And we handled it good. I'm sorry, I got to catch my...
She worries about me. She takes care of me, and especially when I had the kidney transplant, you know. She was my nurse, everything. And it's just been great. I'm so happy that I found her, and she's an angel. She really is.
Yeah, that was a tough time, the toughest. Because we didn't know we were going to get a kidney. And they couldn't take mine, but he's such a wonderful guy.
Gomez is told he's not supposed to be inside the ring. Keep your hands open, said the referee, and so Manigoff let him have it with both feet. Manigoff caught by the Bulldog from outside the ring. Referee's attention has been diverted by the Bulldog, and Iron Mike is working over Manigoff inside the ring. Gomez pulls Manigoff out of the heat. Pepper's formed outside the ring again by referee Jim Blood. It seems to these Texas wrestling fans tonight that Jim Blood is spending much more energy and effort in keeping the pair of Manigault and Gomez straight than he is in keeping Iron Mike and the Bulldog on the straight and narrow. Oh, this is turning into a wild one. We're still in the first ball of our Texas tag team match. Iron Mike and Bulldog Fletches matched against Pepper Gomez and Bobby Manigault. Manigault is in the ring against Iron Mike.
I was great in the business, and a lot of promoters wanted me, and it made me good because I was a good athlete, and then I had I learned how to wrestle, which made it even better for me. Even Lou says, he does these wrestling moves sometimes, and he got behind me and I sat out on him. I went to face him, and he looked at me, and then when we got in the dressing room, he says, "You made a hell of a move." He says, "You're gonna do great in this business."
Pepper was a mix of many styles because he combined the lucha libre fast Mexican style with mat and chain wrestling, the classic mat and chain wrestling that he got from working out with the Dick Huttons and the Lou Theszes and the Vern Gagnes, and he had quite the relationship too with Yukon Eric and Nick Bockwinkel and Ray Stevens, so he could, depending on his opponent, display the Latin Fury, or he could do mat and chain scientific wrestling, which is why they nearly put the NWA World Championship on him through Morris Siegel out of the Houston office. So many styles, and that was the thing that was unique in him being the first Hispanic wrestler to really be a main event caliber wrestler worldwide.
I took a lot of chances in the business, and because I wanted to be great. And I did a lot of things that maybe a lot of guys would want to do, but I did them. And like I said, I took a lot of chances in the business, in the ring, but I think the chances I took, I think are chances that people have to take to be great at what you do.
Pepper Gomez was a small man compared to many people in professional wrestling, but was extremely muscular. One of the things he used to allow wrestlers to do to promote wrestling matches and to sell tickets, he would go to a TV studio where they had wrestling matches and actually let opponents jump off the top rope onto his stomach. Now, he did this in Boston for a couple of weeks, and different people jumped on his stomach, and in amazement, he would just jump up and he'd shake hands with these people. And these were big wrestlers, men that weighed between 250 and 300 pounds, without any apparent damage when they jumped off the top rope onto his abdomen. Now, on one particular occasion, Killer Kowalski accepted this challenge, but when he came off the top rope, he purposely jumped across Pepper Gomez's throat, injuring Gomez. Now, weeks later, Pepper Gomez and Killer Kowalski met in the Boston Garden to sell out house, and actually it was the start of a very famous wrestling feud. And it was one of those times that Killer Kowalski lived up to his reputation, and Pepper Gomez suffered at that point in time. But believe me, when he got Kowalski in the ring, he gave him back, paid him back in spades.
Cast iron stomach, Pepper Gomez, you know, my man. Real hot, of course, in Texas and California. I wrestled with him all over the world, you know, one of the greatest Mexican stars ever.
He reminds you of a little bottle full of pepper. He was a great wrestler, and he became a pretty good friend of ours, Mad Dog and myself. Very good.
Jim Blood is trying to get referee Otto Coos to run Pepper Gomez outside the ring, while Manigault is working on the Bulldog across the rope. Guff started to take a swing at Blood that time. Gomez has come out, tagged by Manigat. Gomez is tagging Iron Mike in a lot of different ways and places. That's Jim Blood, the referee, knocked over the top ropes on the right side. Gomez has covered him. There's the count of 3.
They had some matches at the Oakland Coliseum, and they asked me to come because they wanted to introduce me to the crowd, because I was a big attraction in this area here. So I went over there, somebody went in my car and stole all my wrestling equipment, you know, after I got through wrestling. And so that was my last match. And then when I got home, I told my wife, I said, you know what? Somebody broke in my car and stole my wrestling gear. She said, you must have a hell of a fan. And I said, well, I guess I'll have to retire. And that's when I retired. I said, no more. I got no more trunks, no more the shoes. I said, I'm finished. I've got a lot to say to my fans. I think that if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have done what I did. They were great to me, no matter where I went, whether it was in Boston or even Canada, or Texas, even Florida, everywhere I went, Australia, everywhere. And they would, I felt that I owed them something, so I went out and wrestled hard for them, because I was kind of a guy that never forgot what people do for you. And like I said before, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have been where I am today.
They just loved Pepper the time he took for him, all the fans. He didn't, every place we go now, they just love him. They don't just like him or think he was a great wrestler, but as a person, they loved him too.
Pepper Gomez lost his greatest battle on May 6, 2004, at the age of 77. He had truly been an icon of the wrestling world, having broken a close-knit racial barrier that then opened up the sport for thousands to follow. But in Pepper's own words, he was first and foremost a people person. He loved and respected both his loved ones and his enemies. He just hoped people would always remember him with respect. Believe me, Pepper, you will have your wish.
Please refer to your manuals.